In just 89 seconds, one Florida congressman, with a background in national security, exposed the FBI's most guarded secret about Jeffrey Epstein's client list that sent Director Kash Patel into a complete psychological meltdown during what should have been routine congressional oversight. Jared Moskowitz didn't need classified clearance or insider sources. He asked 4 devastating questions about missing evidence that Patel couldn't answer, without admitting the FBI had deliberately buried the most explosive documents in American political history. Cameras captured the FBI director's face, draining of color, before his hands started trembling, as he realized his career was ending in real time. The House Intelligence Committee chamber fell into stunned silence. What did Moskowitz reveal about those missing files that made America's top law enforcement official choose between confessing to a massive cover-up or having a complete nervous breakdown on live television? March 22, 2025, 2:47 p.m. Room SC5 of the Capitol Visitor Center. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as what began as standard FBI oversight questioning was about to become the most explosive Intelligence Committee hearing in decades. Jared Moskowitz sat like a former prosecutor who had spent weeks preparing for this exact moment. Charcoal suit pressed sharp as his interrogation skills, wire-rimmed glasses reflecting the committee room lights as he arranged documents that would soon destroy the career of America's most controversial FBI director. At the witness table, Kash Patel projected the bureaucratic confidence of someone who believed his federal law enforcement position made him untouchable by congressional questioning. Navy suit tailored to project federal authority, FBI badge positioned like armor, briefcase containing what he assumed were unassailable talking points about ongoing investigations and classified material protocols. Behind him sat 8 FBI lawyers, 3 DOJ representatives, and 2 White House counsel officials. Their mission was protecting the director from congressional questioning about sensitive counterintelligence operations using national security claims and executive privilege arguments. The hearing had been tense from the opening statements. Republican committee members aggressively defended Patel's tough investigative policies and constitutional interpretations regarding federal law enforcement authority. Democratic members pressed hard on civil liberties concerns and transparency questions about FBI investigative priorities. But no one anticipated the controlled fury that was about to erupt when Moskowitz began his questioning about one specific case file that Patel desperately needed to keep classified forever. The morning preparation had been meticulous. Moskowitz's intelligence team had spent months analyzing FBI case closure patterns and evidence preservation protocols, uncovering systematic gaps in high-profile investigations that suggested deliberate suppression of evidence. Congressman, his chief investigator, had warned during final briefing, "If these Epstein files contain what we think they contain, we're about to expose obstruction of justice at the highest levels of federal law enforcement. Patel will face immediate calls for resignation and potential federal prosecution." At exactly 2:47 p.m., Chairman Mike Turner recognized Congressman Moskowitz for his questioning period. The gentleman from Florida is recognized for 5 minutes. The time allocation seemed routine, but Moskowitz would need less than 2 minutes to trigger the most explosive breakdown in FBI oversight history. Moskowitz opened with deceptive calm, his voice carrying the controlled precision of someone who had worked in national security before entering Congress. "Director Patel, thank you for your testimony today about FBI investigative priorities and evidence preservation protocols. I'd like to ask about a specific case that has generated significant public interest." Patel tensed slightly. Specific case questions were dangerous territory that could expose internal investigative decisions and case management processes he preferred to keep confidential. "Congressman," Patel replied with practiced authority, "as you know, FBI investigations involve sensitive operational matters that require careful handling to protect ongoing prosecutions and maintain the integrity of federal law enforcement operations." His defensive response sounded evasive and bureaucratic, exactly the kind of stonewalling that triggered Moskowitz's prosecutorial instincts. "I appreciate those general principles," Moskowitz said with a slight edge creeping into his voice, "but I'm asking about one specific case file." Director Patel Does the FBI currently possess evidence seized from Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan residence in July? The question was direct and specific, referencing what should have been straightforward evidence: custody protocols. Patel's expression immediately hardened as he recognized the dangerous territory. Congressman Patel responded with increasing irritation. "I cannot discuss specific investigative evidence or case materials that may involve ongoing prosecutorial decisions or sensitive intelligence operations that could be compromised by congressional disclosure." "Cannot discuss," Moskowitz repeated with growing intensity. "Director, Jeffrey Epstein died in federal custody over 5 years ago. What ongoing operations could possibly be compromised by acknowledging basic evidence custody?" The challenge was pointed and logical. Patel attempted to maintain his defensive posture while avoiding direct answers. "Congressman, regardless of the status of any individual, FBI evidence protocols remain classified when they involve sensitive intelligence sources or methods that could be compromised by public disclosure." "Intelligence sources," Moskowitz shot back with prosecutorial precision. "Director, let me ask you about specific intelligence sources mentioned in those evidence files." He opened a classified folder and lifted a document clearly marked with FBI letterhead. Patel's face immediately flushed with panic as he recognized internal FBI correspondence. This internal FBI memo from the Evidence Analysis Unit, dated August 15, 2019, states, Moskowitz began reading with devastating clarity. Quote, "Epstein evidence inventory includes 127 digital storage devices containing approximately 2.3 terabytes of video surveillance from multiple residences. Initial analysis identifies 8,407 individuals, including current and former federal officials, Supreme Court justices, congressional members, and foreign intelligence assets. Recommendation: classify all materials, top secret, compartmented to prevent disclosure." End quote. The chamber erupted. The FBI had possessed massive surveillance evidence implicating hundreds of powerful individuals and had immediately classified it to prevent exposure. Top secret classification, Moskowitz emphasized with controlled fury. "Director Patel, the FBI classified evidence of potential crimes by federal officials not to protect national security, but to protect those officials from prosecution. Is this your understanding of federal law enforcement?" Patel's face was now visibly pale, sweat beginning to form on his forehead as he realized the scope of what was being exposed. "Congressman, that memo is taken completely out of context and misrepresents routine evidence classification procedures that occur regularly in FBI investigations involving sensitive intelligence considerations." The defensive response was exactly what Moskowitz had been hoping for. Panic revealed truth that careful preparation could hide. "Out of context?" Moskowitz shot back immediately, his voice rising with prosecutorial momentum. "Director, let me provide more context." He lifted a second document, this one marked with DOJ letterhead. "This is a Department of Justice internal communication sent to your predecessor, dated September 3rd. Patel was now visibly shaking, clearly recognizing the classified correspondence that should never have reached congressional hands. The DOJ memo states, Moskowitz read with relentless precision, and I quote, "FBI Director, regarding Epstein evidence classification. Analysis confirms surveillance materials implicate sitting federal judge, 3 current senators, 12 House members, and multiple intelligence community officials. Attorney General has determined that prosecution would destabilize federal government operations. Recommend permanent classification and evidence destruction within 80 days to protect institutional integrity." End quote. The revelation was constitutional dynamite. The Justice Department had ordered evidence destruction to protect implicated federal officials. Social media exploded as viewers watched America's FBI director exposed as a participant in systematic evidence destruction to protect government corruption. Epstein files began trending alongside Patel breaks and Moskowitz exposed. The story was erupting beyond the hearing room into a constitutional crisis about law enforcement corruption. "Evidence destruction," Moskowitz emphasized with prosecutorial fury. "Director Patel, The Justice Department ordered you to destroy evidence of federal crimes to protect institutional integrity. Did you follow those orders? Patel's composure was completely shattered. His hands were visibly trembling as he struggled to maintain any semblance of professional control. Congressman, you are completely mischaracterizing routine evidence management and classification decisions that are made daily throughout federal law enforcement agencies to protect sensitive intelligence sources and methods, he shouted, his voice cracking with stress. Routine evidence management. Moskowitz fired back, his own voice now rising with controlled outrage. Let me read you the evidence destruction order that shows just how routine this management was. He lifted a third document. This one marked eyes only, director, that made Patel look physically ill. This classified order from FBI headquarters to Evidence Division, dated December 15, 2019, states, per DOJ directive and White House coordination, initiate immediate destruction of all Epstein surveillance materials, priority destruction, files implicating federal judiciary, congressional members and intelligence officials. Document destruction as routine evidence retention compliance. Any technician discussing these operations will face immediate termination and federal prosecution. This operation has presidential authorization. End quote. The final revelation was explosive. The FBI had systematically destroyed evidence under direct presidential authorization. Presidential authorization, Moskowitz concluded with barely contained fury. Director Patel, you followed presidential orders to destroy evidence of federal crimes. You've turned the FBI into a presidential cover-up operation. The heated exchange had reached a breaking point. Patel was now completely losing control, his careful federal composure shattered by the systematic exposure of his agency's corruption. This is outrageous congressional harassment. Patel screamed, his face red with rage and panic. You're weaponizing oversight to attack federal law enforcement. Harassment? Moskowitz shouted back, standing from his chair with prosecutorial fury. Director, you destroyed evidence of crimes by federal judges and senators. You followed presidential orders to obstruct justice. The chamber was in complete chaos. Committee members were shouting over each other. Television cameras captured the complete breakdown of congressional decorum, as America's FBI director had a public nervous breakdown. On live television, you swore an oath to uphold justice and defend the Constitution. Moskowitz continued, his voice carrying over the chaos. Instead, you've systematically destroyed evidence to protect the most powerful criminals in America. How dare you question the FBI's integrity? Patel screamed back, completely losing control. We protect national security, while you engage in partisan destruction of federal institutions. Integrity? Moskowitz fired back with devastating precision. You call destroying evidence integrity. You call protecting pedophiles integrity. You call following illegal presidential orders integrity. The heated clash continued for nearly a minute, with Patel completely losing his composure as Moskowitz's prosecutorial assault demolished his federal authority. Cameras captured every moment of his public breakdown as he realized his FBI career was being destroyed in real time. Finally, Chairman Turner gave desperately for order, but the psychological damage was complete. Patel sat in defeated silence, his screaming match having confirmed everything Moskowitz had accused him of. I yield back my time, Moskowitz said quietly, his investigative work complete. The chamber remained in stunned silence as the full scope of FBI corruption became clear. America's FBI director had publicly confirmed that he had destroyed evidence of federal crimes following direct presidential orders, all while screaming about his agency's integrity on live television. Within hours of the heated confrontation, the political earthquake was reshaping Washington. House Speaker Mike Johnson announced immediate impeachment hearings for Patel. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer called for special prosecutor appointment to investigate the entire chain of evidence destruction from the Oval Office down. That evening, as America processed the most explosive FBI oversight hearing in modern history, one thing was crystal clear: Jared Moskowitz had accomplished something unprecedented. He had used systematic questioning to trigger such defensive panic that America's FBI director had confessed to destroying evidence while screaming about his agency's integrity. The 89 seconds that ended an FBI career would be remembered as the moment when congressional oversight proved that even the most powerful federal agencies couldn't escape accountability when their corruption was exposed by someone who refused to accept their lies. Sometimes the strongest weapon isn't classified clearance or federal authority. It's the skill to ask questions that make corrupt officials so panicked they confess their crimes while claiming their innocence. When federal law enforcement becomes a presidential weapon, it takes someone like Jared Moskowitz to expose the truth through the fury of those trying to hide it. If this story revealed how presidential orders can corrupt federal investigations, don't just watch in silence. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, where congressional confrontations expose government corruption and heated exchanges reveal hidden truths. Hit the notification bell. The next explosive hearing might expose corruption in your own government. What would you do if you discovered the FBI was destroying evidence to protect powerful criminals? Drop a comment below. This dramatized story is inspired by real events and public figures. All dialogue and incidents are fictionalized for commentary and educational purposes. This is not intended to defame, but to explore themes of federal law enforcement accountability, congressional oversight, and institutional corruption in American democracy.